Kenny Pickett is considered by most the top quarterback in the upcoming draft class. Some people might have a guy like Malik Willis at the top of their board, but regardless, he's going to be one, if not the first quarterback to hear his name called in the upcoming 2022 NFL draft. Now, while this is an overall weak quarterback class, it's pretty clear why he's getting so much attention. He just wrapped up a fifth-year senior season at Pitt, where he threw for 4,200 yards and 42 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. While no one is expecting some elite rushing talent, he showed off some solid mobility, especially behind the line of scrimmage. He rushed for 230 yards and an additional 5 touchdowns. He also pulled off one of the greatest runs, or at least most interesting runs I think we'll ever see, when he did the controversial fake slide in one of his last games against Wake Forest. Bleacher Report describes him as having good height and an above average build, good accuracy at all levels, above average arm strength, was asked to run a wide variety of concepts, and showed understanding. Most dangerous when he's breaking out of the pocket, competitive player willing to take a hit for the extra yards. Now, just like every prospect, he's coming in with some concerns. He has inconsistent timing on his throws, looks to leave the pocket too often, leading to unnecessary sacks, and often resorts to underneath routes when solid downfield options are available. All concerns I think most scouts can look past for the most part, just considering the talent at hand. But speaking of hand, a glaring problem for a lot of scouts that they might not be willing to look past is his hand size. Something we don't typically talk about, as it's usually not that big of a deal, but his hands are small, and I really mean small, at least to NFL quarterback standards. He kicked the can down the road at the Senior Bowl, deciding not to have his hands measured, but that became unavoidable at the Combine, when he measured in with 8.5-inch hands. Now, for context, of the 39 quarterbacks drafted in the first round from 2008 to 2020, none measured in with less than 9-inch hands. If he were to start for a team next season, he would have the smallest hands of all the starting quarterbacks. The next closest, if he even starts, would be Taysom Hill at 8 3/4 inches. For some more context, of that group of 39 quarterbacks, the average hand size was 9.7 inches. Some of the bigger hands in the NFL are guys like Russell Wilson, who has over 10-inch hands. Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen are also just over 10 inches. Some of the smallest being guys like Joe Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, and Jared Goff at 9 inches. So the question I really want to answer today, is there any serious correlation to hand size and NFL success? Well, your first thought might be yes, considering they use it to throw the football. Is that really true, or is it just a pre-draft talking point that really just wastes everyone's time? Now, the first thing that makes sense to bring up is the size of the football. Some don't realize, as it really makes zero sense, the football changes sizes from college to the NFL. No other sport to my knowledge does this. College baseball has the same size ball as the MLB. A college basketball is the same size as an NBA ball, but for some reason, that's not the case for football. Now, we're dealing with a very small difference, sometimes not even one, due to varying levels of inflation. To get into the specifics, the circumference of a college football ranges from 20 3/4 inches to 21 1/4 inches lengthwise from end to end, versus 21 inches to 21 1/4 inches in the NFL. At the widest point of the ball, their circumference is 27 3/4 inches to 28 1/2 inches in college, and 28 inches to 28.5 inches in the NFL. The length from tip to tip ranges from 10 7/8 inches to 11 7/16 inches, although the NFL mandates that its balls are 11 to 11 1/4 inches. So really, not that big of a difference, but maybe something we need to pay attention to when we're dealing with such a big outlier like Kenny Pickett. We've seen players like Jamar Chase express concern about the ball size change once getting to the NFL, but I think it's safe to say he ended up being just fine. We know the kid can throw the football. I think it'd be a little odd to just assume that's going to disappear overnight with a minuscule change of the size of the football. So what's the real concern? A lot of people want to point out ball security. Maybe there's something there. Let's take a look. The quarterback that fumbled the most this season was Dak Prescott, finishing the year with 14 fumbles. Interesting, because he actually has 10-inch hands, which would be tied for the third biggest in the NFL. Maybe that's just an outlier. The next two biggest fumblers were Kyler Murray and Derek Carr. Carr does have some of the smaller hands in the NFL at 9 1/8 inches, but Kyler Murray is right around league average at 9.5. The next group of guys is Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, and Ben Roethlisberger. Both Cousins and Roethlisberger have some of the bigger hands in the NFL, and Fields doesn't, but I think it's pretty clear why he might be towards the top of the list when it comes to fumbles. So there doesn't appear to be a glaring correlation between hand size and fumbles, or even fumble rate. There doesn't seem to be a huge correlation between hand size and success. For every big-handed superstar like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, you've got a tiny hand one like Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, or Tom Brady. This isn't a new conversation. Just a couple years ago, all everyone could talk about at the Combine was Joe Burrow measuring in with 9-inch hands. Before that, it was Jared Goff. Now, to be fair, we're dealing with a completely different number, 8.5. That does seem concerning, but there also might be more to the story. he does have a double jointed thumb, something that was used as reasoning for waiting for his hand measurement. An excuse, maybe, but it also could have affected the measurement in some degree. Maybe he is closer to right around that 9-inch mark. We really don't know. At the end of the day, in recent NFL history, hand size hasn't seemed to factor too much into quarterback success. It hasn't seemed to factor too much into ball security. It might be a big deal, we will see, but I think it's stopping you from drafting him might be a huge mistake. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I'm back on the football channel, hopefully posting very consistently, so if you guys are excited about that, smash the like button, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Peace.